Well, shooters and reloaders out there, Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you from the Hot Lead Zone. And what you're looking at is Lee's version of the 45 caliber Keith bullet. Now, Lee doesn't make a traditional Keith style bullet, but this kind of is close. It is their 4.52 252 grain semi-wad cutter. It's got a wide me-plat, as you can see there, and it's a good semi-wad cutter. Not a traditional Keith design, but pretty close. And the shocking thing that I find, that's kind of a pun, right, is that on YouTube there are no videos on this bullet. Now, I did a couple, but there are no other videos on this bullet. Will be the 45 ACP with this bullet loaded. As you see here, we're going to go ahead and test these. The Ruger convertible Blackhawk. Shooters and reloaders, what you're looking at here is a perfect example of the single action 45 ACP. It is the Ruger convertible Blackhawk, and it comes with an extra cylinder for 45 ACP. Now, part of the reason I'm doing this series on this Stubby 4.52 252 grain semi-wad cutter bullet that actually weighs 262 grains, part of the reason why I'm doing this series is to dispel some notions out there about the 45 ACP in revolvers. Most owners of the Ruger convertible Blackhawk will shoot the 45 Colt cylinder most often, and they look at the 45 ACP cylinder as, well, it's kind of nice to have that because if I run into any cheap 45 ACP ammo, I can shoot it in my revolver. But that's not it at all. The 45 ACP cylinder is a gun all to its own with complete versatility and usefulness, utility. It's an excellent performing round in this gun. The 45 ACP cylinder can stand on its own. It doesn't have to be regarded as a second-class citizen. Part of the notions is that the 45 ACP cylinder really is an inferior cylinder anyway. It's only fit for shooting scrap surplus 45 ACP ammo that you might run into. No, that's not it at all. The idea that there's a lot of bullet jump because of this short case. You're getting a lot of bullet jump and the bullets rattling around and can't get into the barrel consistently and therefore is not going to shoot well and all that kind of thing. That notion came about because people say that and everybody else around seems to be nodding in agreement. And so the tendency is for new shooters to buy that thing hook, line, and sinker. To buy that line as if it was the gospel truth. Nothing farther from the truth. Let me explain. The 45 ACP cylinder has a little shoulder in there. So the head space of the round is on that shoulder. The case mouth hits that shoulder and that head space is the round. Well, certainly there is some distance there, isn't there? And so logically it sounds like, yes, you got a lot of rattling around down there. This bullet jump is horrible. There's no bullet jump. There's zero bullet jump. Let me show you what I mean. This is called a cylinder throat, and if you try and put the bullet, this 4.52 bullet in there, it won't go in. You can press it in if you really push hard, but it doesn't just go right in. That's because a cylinder throat is a little bit smaller than the bullet, the 4.52 bullet. Well, that happens to be all the way back to the shoulder. So let me show you. If you drop the bullet in from this side, you see how it stops? It's not stopping on the shoulder really, what it's doing is it's stopping because it's a little bigger than the whole distance from the shoulder to the end of the cylinder. That happens to be a straight wall in there. It's not tapered, and that's why you're getting rattling around. No, there's no rattling around down there. What really happens is that as soon as the bullet exits the case, and we normally will seat this bullet right to the mouth, the shoulder right to the mouth of the 45 ACP case, because you're loading it into a auto pistol round. You don't crimp in the crimping groove. If you did, what would happen would be that you would actually reduce the headspace, because the headspace is on that edge. So you can't roll that edge in. So you would actually seat right to the shoulder, even to the case mouth. Well, that same shoulder happens to be the same as the cylinder throat. So as soon as the bullet comes out of the case, it starts to come out of the case, it's hitting that same smaller diameter bore in there. That's why it won't just drop through, you see. So as soon as it exits, that's right where the mouth of the case is. So as soon as the bullet starts coming out, it's already starting to obturate that cylinder throat, which goes all the way back to the case mouth. Obturation means it's sealing. There's no rattling around down there. So then the bullet emerges from the cylinder throat at 451 or whatever it is. We mic this, it's actually 451, 4515. So it emerges from there and it comes out and it's sealed because it's sealing in that cylinder throat all the way back to the case mouth. It's sealing. So it comes out and it hits the forcing cone. Forcing cone swedges it down to the barrel and it fills the grooves while the back end's still in the cylinder, so you never lose the sealing of the gases. That's why the 45 ACP cylinder is a gun all to itself, completely valid, completely engineered to be good, and it can shoot very well as any gun, as any revolver. So your 45 ACP cylinder is a precious thing. It is not something that's, oh, well, if I lose it, it's not a big loss. This makes a big difference. And so we're talking about this stubby bullet in the 45 ACP. So let's go ahead and shoot some of these 45 ACP rounds out of this cylinder so you can see what we're talking about in terms of performance, accuracy, and also standard deviation, the goodness of the ammo, because what you have here is a shorter round, means that for the velocity range you're talking about, this is actually more efficient and more accurate than the bigger 45 Colt case that had a voluminous powder space that you're not using all of it. So with this gun, you actually have the short 45 ACP, you have the longer 45 Schofield, and the longer 45 Colt. So it's like first, second, and third gear. You can shift to high with more powerful ammunition, but when you're in low gear, you're more efficient for the speed you're traveling in first gear. And this, my friends, is first gear. Now, however, bear in mind that back in high school, we were winding out our 427s and 396s in first gear and getting 70 miles an hour. And I won't tell you what my Corvette can do in first gear. So this is pretty capable first gear as well. Well, the Ruger Blackhawk did a little bit of diagonal stringing in there, didn't it? So there's the load, 4.7 grains of promo powder with that 4.52 262 grain semi-wad cutter bullet. And that load, that shot by inch group, 915 feet per second, standard deviation of 13.3, spread of 36. So that's pretty consistent load. 13.3 is fine. So there's the next group, designated F, and it shot 915.8 feet per second. That's pretty close to the one before. Standard deviation 13.1, very close to what was before. Spread was almost right on, the same as the 5-shot group before. That's a pretty round group with that load. 262 grain semi-wad cutter Lee cast bullet, 4.7 grains of promo. So we decided to put another 5 rounds and do a 10-shot group for that one as target number H. 10-shot group, and we did a 10-shot group with the chronograph also. So then we decided to shoot a 10-shot group. So there's 10 shots right there. Good performance from the Caldwell Ballistic Precision Chronograph. And it gave us 913.2. Why isn't that a surprise? Very consistent velocity of all these loads. And the standard deviation 8.4 for a 10-shot group. Spread of 27 with 10 shots. That is not bad performance. So shooters and reloaders out there, you see that the 45 ACP in the good single action revolver can be a very fine shooting machine. Bye for now. See you on the next video in the series. 4.52 262 SWC Lee cast bullet.